What's going on, good people? So this video will be another coding challenge. This coding challenge will be doing the Fizz Buzz. You've probably heard of this one before. Believe it or not, I've actually done this in an interview before. I think it had different words with it, but it was still the same concept. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump it right into it. All right, so here is the coding challenge for this video, and it is to write a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100, but for multiples of 3, print fizz instead of the number, and for multiples of 5, print buzz. For multiples which are, for numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5, print fizz buzz. That being said, it's pretty straightforward. As you see, there's an example here. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it. As like with the last coding challenge, I will be doing this in .NET Core. And all right, so now that my system has decided to start responding once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new, actually, I need to create a new project. I've created a repository with all of these coding challenges in it. So a link to that repository will be down in the description below. If you've missed a previous coding challenge, all that code will be in the same repository. I figured I would put all of these coding challenges into the same repository. That way they have a central location for where they can be easily found. All right, so I'm going to create a new project. So again, using the .NET Core, we're going to do .NET New Console, and we're going to give it a name of Fizz Buzz. All right, and that should create a new folder called Fizz Buzz, as well as set up everything we need for the project. So if we cd into that directory, we have our project. Now let's go ahead and create a get ignore file for this particular directory. That way we don't commit our project files such as the actual executables to the repository. Now that we have done that, we can go into Visual Studio Code, into the appropriate directory, and open the project that we just created from the command line. And then we can open our program.cs. I'm going to update the namespace to customize it to my particular setup or how I prefer to do things. And I'm also going to remove the hello world out of here. And it wants to do the assets required, so we'll go ahead and click yes on that. And now, so we have a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100. So what I will do is to create a for loop. We'll do an int I starting with 1. And while I is less than or equal to 100, we will increment I. This is your basic for loop, and this for loop replies to regardless of what language that you're doing. The next step, so we need to determine whether the number that we're currently on is a multiple of 3, a multiple of 5, or a multiple of 3 and 5. So the way I'm going to do this is to do a, we'll call it a string with output, and we'll set it to an empty string. And then if I is divisible by 3, then we will add to that string fizz. All right, and also do, I know you're thinking, well, should you do it else if? No. So what I'm going to do is I is divisible by 5, then, whoa. All right, we'll do an output of, we'll do plus equals here, buzz. And looks like I'm missing some quotes. All right, and let's see. So if okay, I think I may have misdone this. So if we do I divided by 5, and that equals 0, that should work. Maybe I have the wrong type of slash. There we go. All right. So I had the wrong slash on there. All right, and so what we're doing is we're basically doing division. So if I divided by 3 equals to 0, which I don't think this is quite right. I want to use the modulus operator, but it seems to be complaining about the modulus operator. So we'll go modulus operator C#. All right. And so we'll go to the internet and kind of look into this a little bit further to make sure we're actually using the right thing. Because what I want is, so let's see. Okay. So what we want is we want to do the modulus. So we want, the modulus is basically the mathematical representation of the remainder. So when you're discussing, so let's say if you have 15, 15 divided by 3 would be 5 with a remainder of 0. And so that's where the modulus comes in. And so I think originally when I was typing this, I did have the I%3, but I didn't have the equation of what to check, and so it kind of flagged that. Let's see if we go back here. Yeah, so it didn't like that because it couldn't convert that type. So this is actual condition, so it can convert that. And so the reason I'm doing it this way is because I want the Fizz Buzz to be able to show up, so you have to do it in a certain way. And like I mentioned, I've done this as an interview question once before. So it took me a little bit of a moment, but once I worked with the interviewer and discussed some things, then we did get it correct and output it. All right, so now that we have our Fizz Buzz portions, what I want to do next is check to see if the output length is greater than 0. And if it is, then, well, excuse me, correction. Let's do this. So we want to do if the output length is equal to 0, which means that none of these conditions were returned true. Then we want to set the output equal to the I.toString value. And then we want to console.writeLine the value of output. All right, and so, whoops, don't want to remove too many braces. So if we do format and trim, if I run this in the terminal, and it may ask me to do some other stuff before it actually runs off. Maybe not. All right, so it is building. It is now running. There we go. All right, so we have 1, 2, and if we come and pull up our image to kind of do a comparison, so we have 1, 2, Fizz, 4, Buzz, Fizz, 7, 8, Fizz, Buzz, 11, Fizz, 13, 14, Fizz Buzz, and that's where our example stops at. But the pattern continues forward where it does the Fizz Buzz. So let's come back to this code and do a little bit more elaborate walkthrough. So we're looping over the numbers 1 through 100. And we're initializing every time we start with another number. We're going to set the output value to an empty string, which is this here, just 2 quotes with nothing in the middle. And then we're going to check to see if the number is divisible by 3, and if so, does it have a remainder? If it does have a remainder, it will not output it will not add fizz to the output. If it does not have a remainder, it will set that to the remainder will be 0. Then it will add fizz to the output. Then here we're going to do the same thing as we did for 3, but we're checking for 5 instead. And this time, since we may have fizz in the previous check, we want to, if this condition is true, we want to add buzz to the output. So we're going to do the plus equals operator. Now this operator is the same as if you were to do output equals output plus buzz. All right, as soon as I can get it typed. So that's the same. This condition is the same as this condition. This is just a more concise way of typing this same statement. All right, and then the last check will be if the output length, so the length of this variable, is equal to 0, which the length by default would be 0, then we know that it does not have a fizz or a buzz contained in it. And so based off of that, we can set the number equal to, we can set the output equal to the number that was currently being done in that for loop. And then the last part is to print out that number to the console. All right. And so that being said, I'll run it once more again, just so you're able to see it. If you have any questions regarding this particular project, drop those down in the comments below. A link to the repository where you can find the source code for this will be available also. And until next time, peace out. Oh, and well, as you see, it ran successfully again for 99, 100. There you go. All right, peace out.